Welcome to Vision Loss Alliance of New Jersey Tech Talks. Tonight, we're honored to have with us Jessica Hipp, the COO from WayAround. Before we begin this presentation, I would like to share with you about Jessica. Jessica Hipp is Chief Operating Officer of WayAround, overseeing operations, communications, and community partner relations. She loves innovative technologies that make the world a better place, and she caught the WayAround vision early on. Jessica brings 15 years of marketing and public relations experience that spans nonprofit, public, and corporate sectors, including several Fortune 500 companies. She has worked both in-house and with agencies, and she specializes in technology and education. Jessica lives with her husband, 2 children, and German Shepherd in southern New Hampshire. Please hold your questions until Jessica cues you. When you ask your question, we ask that you please use the raise your hand feature. For those of you who dialed in, the raise your hand feature is *9. *6 will mute and unmute you, giving you the opportunity to ask your question. Using a computer, Alt-Y, raise your hand, Alt-A, mute and unmute command. If you're using a Mac, Option+Y, the keyboard shortcut to raise or lower your hand. Alt+A is mute and unmute yourself. Using the Zoom app on the iPad, move to the top right, select the More option, and flick down to the Raise Your Hand feature. On the iPhone, this feature is located at the bottom of the screen on the right-hand side. And now I would like to introduce to you Jessica Hipp, the COO of WayAround. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be with all of you tonight. And those 2 kids and the German Shepherd are all in my house, so they could possibly be making an appearance, but we will just get through together. So if you are
to meet them.
Yes, if you aren't familiar with WayAround, it is a labeling system that works with your smartphone. So we have all different types of labels. There's stickers, buttons, magnets, and clips. And I'll talk a lot more later in the presentation about how you can use all of those different types of labels. But for now, you just need to know that they all work exactly the same with the app. And the app is available for free. You can have it on iOS or Android. And just this month, we announced it's available for the Blind Shell Classic 2. So that is brand new. If any of you are using that device, you can now use WayAround with your Blind Shell, which we're very excited about. And whenever you label something, if you've used other labeling systems, whether it's a voice recorder or Braille or even large font labels, you don't really have a lot of room. And one of the great things that people love about WayAround is you can add in just a ton of details. It's really unlimited information. So if you're labeling your clothes, you can fully describe if there's patterns or colors, you can put all of that great information on. You can also put things like washing instructions, drying instructions. You could even describe outfits. People put what jewelry and lipstick go with different outfits. So if you like details, WayAround is a really great way to label things and make sure you get all of the relevant information. So I think what I would like to do is just go ahead and share my iPhone screen and give you I'm going to scan a tag and you can see how it works. And then we can talk a little bit more. So give me just a moment while I share my screen, and I will have voiceover turned on. So let's see if we can get this all hooked up. It's thinking. Oh, here we go. All right, there it is. And here's voiceover.
Voiceover on. WayAround. WayAround. Heading level 1.
So
Swipe right to hear additional items on this screen.
So this is the home screen of Way Around. Whenever you log into the app, you will need to create an account with your email address and a password. And that's for two reasons. One, to keep everything private. So only someone who's logged into your account will be able to read all of your tags. And then also there's an automatic backup so that if you ever get a new device, you just need to log into your Way Around account and all of your information is going to be there. So you don't have to do anything to make that happen. It just happens automatically. So I'm just going to swipe through the home screen to give you a little bit of a lay of the land, and then I'm going to scan a tag. So I'll do one swipe.
Settings button.
So
Double
settings.
tap to go to the settings page, which also includes links to community forums, the Help Center, the Way Around YouTube channel, and the Way Around shop.
So right now I actually have on hints, which gives you a lot of extra information. I'm going to go into settings and turn hints off so that we don't have to listen to all of VoiceOver's hints. So I'm going to do that a little bit quickly. So bear with me just one moment.
Settings. Heading level 1. Access. Speak Way Around usage hints. Unchecked. Way Around back. Way Around. Heading level 1.
Okay. So
Swipe right to hear additional items on this screen.
all right, so I think it should be turned off now. So that settings, there's a lot of different options. It defaults to all of the accessibility settings that you have on your smartphone. So if you have inverted colors or larger font, if you're using a screen reader, Way Around is going to automatically apply all of those settings. And we've done a lot to make sure it's really optimized with all of those accessibility features. And then we have some additional features in the settings where you can, further finesse things. So it's a great place to explore, but we won't go really in depth right now. So let's go to the next area.
Scanner ready. Press the read button below. Then hold the top part of your phone on the way tag until you feel a double click.
So just in case anyone is not hearing VoiceOver, it says scanner ready, press the read button below and hold the top part of your phone on the way tag until you feel a double click. So if you're familiar with QR codes or even, some of the other, barcode type scanners, they all require your camera, and Way Around does not require the camera. It uses a technology called near field communication, or NFC, and it uses radio waves. So all you need to do is tap if you have an iPhone, it's the top skinny edge of your phone. You want to tap that directly against the tag, and then that's how all of the information, it'll either read or write the information. So it's much easier than using a camera. It's a lot easier on your battery life. So it's a pretty simple technology. So I am going to swipe again.
Read button. Double tap to scan a way tag and hear the description. Then swipe right to hear additional details. The quickest way to access the read button is to tap the bottom left corner of your screen.
All right. So the read button is how you would read a tag. And then there's also a create button on the other side. So I have a tag here. It happens to be a button. This is something I've already added some information to. So I'm going to tap the read button.
Read. Ready to scan.
So it says ready to scan. And now I am just touching the button to the top of the
Chambray
phone.
button down shirt. Heading level 2.
So it was so quick.
Way Around. Way Around. Heading level 1.
It was so
Swipe
quick.
right to hear additional items on this screen.
Oh goodness. It talked at the same time I was talking. So it said chambray button down shirt. I'll let you hear it one more time.
Chambray button down shirt. Heading level 2.
So again, this is the description of my a clothing item, a chambray button down shirt. If it was, this is where I could describe patterns. This is what we call the description. And it's the thing that you'll see at the top of your screen if you have some usable vision, or the first thing you will hear if you're using your screen reader. And it can be as long or as short as you want. And I do encourage people to really, think through what you put in here. You want to have enough information that you can really thoroughly identify exactly which item it is, but you don't, there's some other places that you can put some information that you might need some of the time, but not necessarily every single time you scan a tag. So I'm going to swipe through a couple of other fields that I've added, just so you can hear some of the other information.
Sorting, lights, list start.
So that said sorting lights. So again, instructions for doing laundry.
Washing, machine wash normal.
Machine wash normal.
Wear with khakis or corduroy pants.
And there you go. It's an outfit description. So you could keep adding more details. You can edit any of these. So it's very flexible in terms of, what types of information you put on there and how it's all organized. So I will pause right here and see if there are any questions.
Anyone have questions?
This is JR. I have
my bad.
All right,
I was
JR,
gonna
you
say,
first. JR, go first.
the labels that go on the clothes to be read. Are they machine washable with the clothes?
Yes, really good question. So there's two different types of buttons. One can be attached with a safety pin and the other you sew in, and the only difference is how you attach them, but they're both a hard black plastic. They are completely waterproof. They're heat proof up to 250 degrees. So they're fine in the dryer, and they're also cold proof down to -40 degrees. And so even though you would think button goes on clothing, you can also use the buttons in the freezer. The oval hole buttons they're about the size of a quarter, and they have an oval hole cut out of the middle. So what you can do is get a rubber band, or even better is a silicone band, which is like a rubber band, but it works in the freezer. And you can put that around all of your frozen foods, and then the buttons will work great in the freezer too. So they're very versatile.
Another question. We have two questions, one in the chat and one from Aaron. Aaron, I believe that was you trying to ask a question.
I want to tell my Android friends about how does this work? Does this work the same for Android as well, or it works a little bit different?
Yeah, it's very similar. So it's really similar. The one difference, and I'm an Android user typically, I always demonstrate with an iPhone, but there's no read button on the Android. And really it just has to do with the way the NFC reader in the Android phone works. It's sort of always on, whereas with Apple, you have to tell it to turn on. It's kind of in a standby mode. So with Android, instead of pressing read and then getting that ready to scan, you just touch your phone to the tag and it reads. So I think that Android is actually a little bit of a nicer experience, and it's just because of the way Android works versus Apple.
All right, then.
Thanks, Aaron. We have another question in the chat from Tracy. She'd like to know, how do you get the labels?
Good question, Tracy. You can order them. We have lots of different places you can order them. Our website is wayaround.com, and you can order the labels through our website. We also work with a number of distributors, places like AT Guys. They're going to be at both of the big national conferences if you happen to be going to either of those. And then we work with some of the catalog companies like LS&S or MaxiAid. So lots of different retailers. We do work with some small low vision stores as well.
Thank you. Any other questions?
We have one more question in the chat from Andrew. Does the tag have a battery life?
Good question. No, there's no battery in the tag. It's one of the great things about these is the technology inside. There's an antenna, so you don't want to damage it by, the tags are really durable, but if you tried to cut it in half or something, that would damage the antenna, and then you wouldn't be able to use the tag. But otherwise they just last, our manufacturer tells us 10 years or 100,000 scans. We haven't been around for 10 years yet, but people, our earliest customers have been using the very same tags, and they just keep working.
And another question from Tracy. And I believe you said this, they are washable, or do you have to have a particular tag?
So you do need to have what we call the button. So we have 7 different styles of tags, and the 2 buttons are the ones that are completely waterproof. They're, pretty much indestructible. The rest of the tags, and I'll get into a description of the different types of tags and some of the ways that you could use them. But the stickers have a vinyl coating. So if you have them on, Tupperware or, something that you would need to put in the dishwasher, that's fine. I just wouldn't recommend submerging them in water. So they're all really durable, though. People have them, outdoors for gardens. I have customers in Alaska who use the buttons to label their different plants. If they have, heirloom tomatoes and cherry tomatoes, they can keep track of all the different varieties. And they tell me they just leave the buttons in their garden all winter. And once the snow melts, they find them and put them on their new plants. So they are very durable. Just make sure you get the button. Don't try to put a sticker on your, clothes and then put it through the washer, because that's not going to work.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, since we've started talking some about the different types of tags, I think I'll stop my share and we can just keep talking about the tags and the different styles and what you can use them for. So the buttons are always the most popular, so we can start there. And I'm going to hold these up for anyone who has some usable vision. So again, there's 2 different styles. The smaller one is about the size of a nickel, and it has the 2 holes. So if you like to sew, this is a little bit more of a low profile button, and you can just sew it directly into your garment. Some people like to do kind of at the nape of the neck. I find, especially for more delicate fabrics, women's blouses, often the bottom hem is a really good place, because you want it to be in a consistent location that's not going to, be irritating while you're wearing it or pull the fabric in a funny way. So I like to recommend the hem, but people do all different things. And then the other button is the one I was describing earlier, the oval hole button. It's about the size of a quarter, so a little bit bigger. And then it has this big oval notch, out of the middle. So a safety pin, get a rust resistant safety pin so that the safety pin lasts through a lot of different washes. And then you can just pin it right into your clothing. And if you get rid of your clothes, give them to Goodwill, take that button out and put it on a new item, because you can always change the information that's on there. So these are both really, really great places to start with Way Around. We have 2 stickers. One is round and one is square. So the round one, again, is about the size of a quarter. The square one is about the size of a postage stamp. So they're not too small and not too big. They're both white with the Way Around logo, which is black, is visually what you would see on there. And then they're coated with a vinyl. So a lot of people like to label their leftover containers, and then you can update the information if you have your Thai food, that you stick in it, and then you eat that, put it in the dishwasher, and then, your Mexican food or whatever you've made. It's dinner time. I guess I'm getting hungry. So you can use the square and the round as a tactile differentiator. Things like your regular coffee and decaf, or these are the gluten-free things if there's some sort of a dietary sensitivity. So you can definitely use them like that. If you are labeling something that has metal on it, so it could be an appliance that you're describing, all the different, buttons, touch screens. Sometimes spice jars have metal lids, but if it is metal, you want to use the square tag. And the reason is, I'm going to put my hands down so the blood flows back. The reason is that it's a radio wave technology, and metal makes the radio waves bounce around in a funny way. So any of the square way tags has a barrier so that the metal doesn't interfere with it. So they're a little thicker, it's noticeable, but it's not a huge difference. So you can use the square tags on glass, plastic, any type of thing. But if you are labeling something that is metal, you definitely want a square tag. So it's just one thing to note. The next one is a magnet, and the magnet is square because magnets always go on metal. And this is great for canned food. Even if it's a can with one of those pull tabs, you can just put the magnet right underneath. The pull tab almost gives it a little bit of extra security. The magnet is not flexible, so you want to put it on the top or the bottom. Canned food is great. Some people even put the magnet directly on their fridge and use it almost like an electronic sticky note. A note to self, or if you have a motivational quote that you want to scan every morning while you're getting your coffee. People do all sorts of creative things with it. And I see a hand up, so I'm fine pausing.
Thank you. Laura, do you have a question?
Yes. How much do these tags?
Sure. So they are, we sell them in packs of 25. All of the 25 packs, depending on which style you choose, are $30 to $38. So some of them are a little bit more expensive. We do have some variety packs. The easiest way to just try way around is we have what we call the sampler pack. So you get one of each style of tags, and that is, I believe it's $14.99. So it's, it's a little bit more per tag, but it's also a pretty cost-effective way if you just kind of want to get your hands on it and see which tag you like. A lot of people like to do that to start, and most people find that they like 2 or 3 of the different styles of tags. And then if okay, I want the oval hole button or the round stickers, then you can just buy those in a pack of 25. And some people buy a bunch of packs all at once, and other people just kind of do one at a time as you need them. I know if you're familiar with the Pen Friend, if you've ever used that, they have a numbering system that you have to keep track of. So I often get that question, is there anything similar with Way Around? And the answer is no. If you need new tags, you just buy new tags, and the only decision you have to make is, do you want, which style? Do you want a magnet, or do you want a button or sticker, or one of the clips, which we will talk about the clips in a minute. So good question. So let me go ahead and talk about the clips. And these are our own design. They're kind of like big plastic paper clips. They're 2 inches tall and about 1 inch wide. And the top third is the technology. So that's where you'd actually scan. And then the bottom 2/3, they have tabs. One comes down from the middle and the other comes up from the bottom. So, and the reason is so that you can face them either up or down, depending on what you're putting them on. So they work great on, paper or thin cardboard, things like cereal boxes, granola bar boxes. And whenever I tag that type of thing, I do face them down, just tuck the flap in of the box. And then you can put that clip on, and if you face it down, it'll be laying flush against the side of the box. So if you put it facing up, it could, get bumped or something when you're taking it out. So I think it's just a little bit more secure to face it down. These are also very popular with plants because you can just stick them right down in the soil, whether it's house plants, if you have a, very particular fertilizing schedules, or you need to know that this plant needs to be moved outside at this time of year, you can keep track of all of that type of information. These are also, they'll work in the garden. People in temperate climates just use these all year. People further up north, will often use these during the growing season, but maybe bring these in during the winter. I've heard of people leaving these out buried under snow, but it's, I wouldn't recommend it, but I know people do it and have had success. So these are really great. You can also use these with a rubber band or a hair elastic, kind of make a slip knot through it, and then you can put it on lots of different things. And some people even close bread bags with the clips. You can kind of, it's not like a chip clips, it's more like a paper clip, but you can kind of twist the bread bag through those 2 little tongues and keep it closed. And it does come in square and round. So if you have your, wheat bread and you're gluten-free, you can keep track of it again with that tactile differentiator. So the clips are, they're just another great option. And I always tell people that if there's something you want to label, there's a way to use way around to label it. And I know a couple of people have heard this story before, but I sometimes have people who call and try to stump me, like there's no way we can label this thing. And there was somebody about, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and he's a cattle rancher and he's blind. And his father had passed on. It's a family farm. So he had become the lead rancher. And he said, I really want to keep doing this, even though, he really doesn't have much usable vision. And he needed a way to identify the cattle, keep track of their vaccination schedules, date of birth, all their medical information. So we figured out a way to use way tags on the actual animals. And I said, if I can label a cow, I can label absolutely anything. So feel free to try to stump me. I'm up for the challenge, but so far nobody's been able to.
Jessica, there's a question in the chat.
Oh, okay.
She's asking, how do you record on the labels, buttons?
Great question. So you do it all with the app. And let me, I'll keep talking, and I want to share my screen again so that I can do a demonstration. And let's see, I want to make sure I have the right tag. Okay, so at the bottom, there's those two buttons, the read and create. So if you're wanting to add information, you want to go to the create button. So I'll turn on voiceover.
Voiceover off.
Oops, I already had it on.
Way around. Heading level 1. Swipe right to hear a
Let's see. I think I turned it off. Okay, let me get it back on.
Voiceover on.
Okay.
Way around. Heading level 1. Create button.
Okay.
Create way tag. Heading level 1.
So
Swipe right to hear additional items on this screen.
So I say that if you can write an email or a text message, you can get information into way around. So the screen, if you have any usable vision, it says create way tag at the top. And then the next thing it says description, and there's a text box. And so when you go into the text box, and I'm going to do it in just a minute, it'll bring up the keyboard. So if you like using the keyboard on your phone, you're free to do that. Most people do a voice dictate. So it's not recording your voice, but it's that speech to text. So, it's voice dictate, but it'll go into way around just as text. So let me go ahead and do that so I can show you how it works.
Description. Enter the text you want written. Insertion point at end.
Okay, so I'm in the description box. It brought up this, the keyboard, and I'm going to just go ahead and do the voice dictation. And since I'm on a food kick, we're going to label a can of food. So let's do that. Canned corn, low salt.
Canned corn, low salt.
Okay, so if that's all the information I needed, I could just add that information to the way tag and be done. You don't have to add any additional information, but I will show you how to do that just so you can understand how it all works. After that description box, the next section is called the detail template.
Detail template. Select pop-up button.
And this again.
After activating the picker, swipe left or right until you hear the desired detail template. Then double tap to complete your selection. Double tap to activate the picker.
All right, so this, again, it's completely optional, and the detail templates are basically categories of common things related to those categories. So for clothing, it's the washing instructions, drying instructions, and it's all just pick lists, so that if it's, dry clean only or machine wash normal, you don't have to type that out again and again. It's already just in the system. So for food, there's things like gluten-free or kosher, and whatever it is that you're needing to track. So I'm going to go ahead and click into detail template.
Select button.
And I'll just swipe through so you can hear the different options.
Appointment. Artwork. Button. Business card. Button. Cleaning supply. Button. Clothing care. Button. Custom. Button. File. Button. Grocery item. Button. Personal care product. Dismiss context menu. Personal care product.
Okay.
Button.
So again, there's a number of different choices. A personal care product, that's great for things like medications, but it also could be used for your, face care, skin care routine. It has use morning, use nighttime, twice a day, once a day, that type of thing. So since this is the corn, I'm going to go to grocery item.
Grocery item. Grocery item. Heading level 2.
And so once I chose grocery item, excuse me, there's a bunch of different fields and you can fill in only the information that you want. So if one of these doesn't apply to you, just skip it and it won't show up on the way tag. But there's dietary information, certifications, the purchase date. So you can keep track of lots of different things. So let's go ahead and put the dietary information in.
Dietary information. Select. Button.
So there's dairy-free, gluten-free, nut-free, sodium-free, soy-free, sugar-free, low sodium, and contains eggs. So I put that this was low salt up in the description. It's a little bit redundant, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it's low sodium.
Low sodium. Button.
So I will choose that.
Dietary information. Low sodium. Pop-up button.
So
Double tap to activate the picker.
certifications are things like kosher or organic or, non-GMO, that type of thing. So this corn, I'm not going to worry about certifications. The purchase date is a really great one, especially if you go grocery shopping and then as you're putting things away, just go ahead and label it. The purchase date defaults to today's date. And so it's a really easy way to keep track of, when you have things to make sure you're using the oldest first. So let's go ahead and go down there.
Certificate. Purchase date. Pop-up. Month. June 2023. Button. Adjustable.
So when I double tap that, again, it defaulted to today. It's just the regular Apple calendar. Again, if you're an Android user, it would look slightly different because of Android's interface, but it's going to be the same type of calendar you're used to on your device. So it's defaulted to today. So I'm just going to say done.
Toolbar. Done. Purchase date. June 28th, 2023. Pop-up button.
So that's all the information.
To activate the calendar, double tap and then lift your finger. Next, explore the screen to find the different calendar elements to select the month, day and year. Once you have selected the desired date, right button. Double tap to write this information to any way tag. Information already on the way tag will be overwritten.
Okay, so the right button is at the very bottom. It's always on the screen. It's a big red button if you can see, if you have any usable vision. Otherwise, just go to the very bottom and it says right. And so when I double tap right, it's going to pop up that ready to scan screen. And then I'm just going to touch my tag. So let's go ahead and do that. Double tapping.
An organization is required when web dialog.
Sorry,
Organization. New line. Public. Unchecked.
This is a special feature just for me. So you won't see this public, but if I wanted to write public information, I could do that. So now that I have that unchecked, let's go to right.
Right button. Ready to scan.
Ready to scan. I'm tapping.
Success. Way tag written. Can corn low salt. Heading level 2.
So just to make sure you heard that. So as soon as I tapped my phone to the way tag, it said success, way tag written. There was a pause for a second or two, and then it read that description, canned corn, low salt. So I'll go ahead and swipe through just so you can see how those other details showed up.
Dietary information. Low sodium. List start. Purchase date. June 28th, 2023. List end.
So that is the information I added. You'll notice at the very bottom of the screen, there were just 2 buttons, read and create. Now there are 3. In the center, there's an edit button. So that's where if I wanted to add new information, or I use this can of corn, but I bought a new can of corn and I just want to update the purchase date, you can hit edit. It'll take you back to the screen I was just showing you, and you can always add more information. You know, and if you get really into way around and want to get creative, some people link to recipes. You can put, you know, clickable URLs in way around. You know, if there's a case that you would want to have an email address or a clickable phone number, you know, some people, if you have dog food, they want to put the vet's number where if they just scan the dog food, they can easily get to the vet, or, you know, some sort of specialist. So there's all sorts of things that you can do and ways that you can get creative if you really like the details. And if you're not so much of a detail person, you can keep it simple and just put that description in.
Jessica, I have two questions that came in through the chat.
Okay.
From Andrew. So in order to add descriptions, there needs to be another app used to read the food or color. And is there any plan to add a scene AI type of software to the app?
Yeah, good questions, Andrew. So you do need some sort of way to identify the item before you tag it. So some people, you know, will do it as a project with a sighted friend or family member or caseworker. Some people use things like Seeing AI or Ira or Be My Eyes, you know, to identify that. But the great thing is, you know, if you're using one of those services, they can, you know, even though they're quick, it can still take a little bit of time. And so once you add the way tag, then it becomes permanently accessible. So it does take a little bit of time to set up. There's lots of ways to streamline that and create systems, especially for things like food that you kind of go through pretty often. You know, a wardrobe, probably once you tag it, you will likely keep that piece of clothing for a while. So I think it's just, you know, people do spend some time getting the information in, and, you know, some people have very detailed templates that they've created for themselves, so that people get really creative. You know, right now, in terms of Seeing AI, most people, again, they just use one app and then they'll, you know, copy and paste information from one app to the other. I know the Ira team, if you're trying to label something with way around and you are using Ira, they'll actually email you a description, so then you can copy and paste it. So that's, you know, one good option. Sometimes, you know, even just doing FaceTime or, you know, some sort of a Zoom chat with a family member, they could do something similar. So there's lots of good creative options to get the information in there.
Okay. And then Andrew had one more question. Can other people use their app and receive the same inputted info?
So do you mean, well, let me answer that in a couple of ways. So this is, all of the information will be private to your account, Andrew. So if you have somebody else who you want to share your username and password with, they could log in and they could read or write any of your tags. So often if there's multiple way around users in the same household, either multiple people with eyesight loss, or sometimes a blind person and a sighted person, but they both want to be using the system, just log into the same account and then you'll be able to read and write all of the tags. We have a whole other part of our business called Way Around for Public Spaces. And that is where organizations, businesses, they can write way tags that the general public would be able to read only. And with those public way tags, there's a share option. So if you were, you know, at a park or, you know, a museum somewhere, excuse me, that you thought, oh, this is so cool, there would be an option for you to share that information. But right now, there's not the option for you to share your personal information in a virtual way. Good. Any other questions?
And can you just, Jessica, can you just repeat the cost again?
The cost? Yeah. So the 25 packs are anywhere from $30 to $38. And we do have, again, I mentioned the sampler pack that's $14.99. And then we have some really big sampler packs. There's a kitchen starter pack where you get 200 tags for $229. So if you are totally sold and you know this is the system for you, some people like to go all in for something like that. But most people tend to, you know, just buy a few different types of tags. And once they use those, you can always buy more.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Does anyone have any other questions? It's really fascinating.
Thank you. And I will also recommend our YouTube channel, which is one of the things that you can get to from the settings, which is up there in that top right-hand corner. But we have, if you Google or if you go onto YouTube and search for Way Around, you should find it pretty easily. And we have a lot of different videos. There's a bunch of videos just about how to use the app. And then we've also partnered with a blind occupational therapist who's done some topical videos on things like tagging your clothing or, you know, tagging all of your personal care items, whether it's medication or makeup, skincare, that type of thing. So she is probably the most organized person I've ever met in my entire life. And her videos are really, really good. So even if you're thinking, I don't know about Way Around, they're worth watching because she brings in all sorts of just organizational tips, how to combine Way Around with other, you know, low-tech systems, you know, use bump dots and Way Around. So I think combining systems is a really great tool and a great way to make all of the systems work harder together. Sometimes, you know, the whole is more than the sum of the parts. So her name is Jazz. You can find her on our YouTube channel, and I highly, highly recommend her.
One more, I have a question from Christina. How do you get the tag after it's created?
Sure. So once it's created, you would just go to that read button and, you know, you would select read, and then you would tap your phone to the tag and it would pull up that information. And again, if you're on an Android device, you won't have the read button. So you just tap your phone to the tag and it would give you the information. I'm going to stop my share. And if there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer. Happy to have you try to stump me.
Does anybody have any cows they need to label? Come on, somebody has to have a cow.
Often when I tell that story, somebody says, you know, I could use this on my dog, you know, just attach it to the collar and, you know, a little bit more something relatable for most of us.
How about a person? You should do one per person.
Yeah. You know, I had somebody.
A cat.
Yeah, there you go. There was a blind, I'm sorry, a blind employee at a daycare who actually did say, can I label a bunch of 3-year-olds with your tags? I said, you could. I think you should check with their parents, but it's possible.
Yes.
I'm gonna label my seeing eye dog because I have my retired one and there's so like and nobody can tell the
Christina,
difference.
that's not a bad idea.
That's great.
This is JR. I have 2 questions.
Go ahead, JR.
You mentioned that they can be put on metallic objects. Can you put it, we have a washer and dryer and it has a touch screen and it's kind of like glass. I can't read it obviously, but can one of the labels be put, my first question is on the washing machine on the screen. My second question, can it also be put on a circuit breaker? I have a home and I have a circuit breaker. And if I wanted to label the individual circuits so that I could read it, would I be able to do that?
Yes and yes. So on the washing machine, you know, for both of those, I would recommend really just one per appliance. and, use, because you can add so much information to the tag. So
Correct.
you would just use one label on your washer, one way tag. And, depending on, you could describe the buttons, or if there's any sort of, sometimes they have beeps and it's one beep is normal. And then if you click 2 past it, it's this setting. So you could get
Correct.
as detailed as you wanted. The circuit breaker is a super popular way to use way around, water mains, that type of thing. And, most circuit breakers, they have the 2 columns. So you could do one way tag each if you wanted, or you could just do one way tag and describe, just go down the list basically.
Oh,
And in fact, so I don't have sight loss, but I've done that for mine because, when you need it, it's often, I live way up in New England. We get a snowstorm, the power goes out, it's in the basement. Like, it doesn't matter if I've gotten a Sharpie and labeled them, I can't see anything. So, using way around is really helpful in that situation.
Thank you.
Christina.
My question is, the way, the friend pen, they have a database, or you can does way around have a database where you can go in and select, and all the information is just there, and then you can create the tag?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Christina. Not yet. It's something we've explored, but we have not found a great way to make sure that all of that data is accurate. So maybe in the future, but right now, no.
Okay.
We are exploring more ways to have other people, enter the information. Accessible Pharmacy, which is in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but they're a mail order pharmacy that specializes in special packaging and labeling for especially people with eyesight loss. So you can ask for your prescriptions with Braille or with, way around already on it. So they would actually mail it to you with the way around information, and then
that's
you wouldn't have to put any of it in. So it's worth, for that particular thing, checking if your insurance works with them, but they are a really popular solution. And they can also do packaging to where it's like all of your pills for, morning are in a pack, and they have, I think, 14 or 15 different options. They're really good.
That's great to know. Thank you for mentioning that.
Mm-hmm.
Stacy. Stace, you have to unmute yourself, please. Stacy,
Okay, I'm here. I'm sorry. It took me a minute to find the.
you're good. Go ahead.
Well, the pharmacy I use is Humana, and they have Braille and large print labels. But I had to request that, and it took a while. But I have that on. The only prescriptions that I don't have Braille on are the ones I get from the local pharmacy.
So what you need to do is get that way around app, and there you go.
But I can tell them apart by the lids. The certain ones have the lid is different.
Anyone else have any questions? Thanks, Stace.
I do.
Client.
Jessica?
Go ahead.
Jessica, did you tell them about, you don't have to use the phone, you can get individual readers to read your tags at any time, so you don't have to use your phone?
Yeah, so that's a great point. We do have a device, and it's an accessory that you use with your phone. So you do still need to have either a smartphone or a tablet, because that's where all of the information is displayed. But if you are concerned about, using your phone in a certain environment, maybe that's messy, even the kitchen, it can get a little messy. You might not want to have your expensive device, with you. We have another device. Again, it's an accessory. It's called the Waylink. And I don't have one handy, but it's about the size of a credit card and about a ½ inch thick. And it's just a scanner. So you scan any of the way tags, and then it sends all of the information to your phone via Bluetooth. It's really handy. It's lightweight. It's very easy to use. And if you have any sort of, mobility or dexterity, it's something to consider. Our two co-founders, Darwin and Armand, both have vision loss. So they use Way Around every day. And Armand also has Parkinson's. So he's gotten to a point where, scanning with his phone, it's heavy, it can be difficult, but the WayLink really works well for him, even if he has a bit of a tremor. It's very easy to scan. It's a little bit more, I guess, less sensitive. So you can just kind of get it in the right area and it'll scan and send the information right to your phone. And another great thing about it is it makes the read button go away on the iPhone. So you're not having to interface with your phone quite as much. So you can do that continuous scanning if you're trying to pick out your clothes or, looking for that can of corn in your pantry. You can just go scan, scan, scan until you find the right thing. So you'll want to make sure you can hear, hear your phone so that you do get that description information. But as long as you have that type of setup, and you can hear it, it's a really nice way to use Way Around.
Thank you. So Linda has a question in the chat. She wants to know how much is that device, please? So
Yes.
Linda, I assume that you're talking about the scanner, the separate scanner.
So the WayLink is, it's $110, or you can pay an extra $5, which I highly recommend to get. We call it a badge reel, but you can get it. It's either like a clip or a carabiner. That way you can just attach it to your belt loop, and then it's right there, and then it kind of stretches out and, it retracts automatically. So you don't have to hunt around for that. Usually people know where their phones are, but again, keeping up with another device can be a little bit tricky. So if you want to keep it attached to your person or your purse, get the badge reel option.
Thank you.
This is Jay. I have a question.
Go ahead.
You mentioned a tablet. Is it also compatible with an iPad? And does the scanner also work with the iPad the same way they would work with an iPhone?
Yeah, really good question. Yes, the app is available for tablets, for your iPad. The iPad does not have the built-in NFC reader. So you're not going to be able to scan with the tablet. In order to use it, you would need that WayLink, and then it would send the information to your tablet. But a lot of people do that. And because of the account-based system, you could be logged in with your phone and then also be logged in with the tablet, and all the information is gonna sync up between those two devices.
Okay, because in my case, I have a flip. I don't have an iPhone yet.
Mm-hmm.
I have the iPad, so I would be interested most likely in the device to work in conjunction with my iPad. So It can be done.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Jessica, this is Linda. If there are no other questions, I just want to say too, that if you missed any part of this presentation, you could look at the search for the VLANJ YouTube channel and look under Tech Talk. So this way you can hear all of the information about the Way Around. And the other thing too is, just the thought right out of my head. It's just gone. Sorry. Naisha has a question. She saved me. Naisha.
Hi. If when you take the tag off, like let's say you're busy or you're doing something and you put it down and you forgot where you put it at, is there a way that you can locate the tag? You know how like the iPhones have those little round tags and they can tell you like when you're close to it, or
Right.
Do you have like a locator? Is there a locator?
Yeah, that's a good question. And no, so Way Around isn't going to help you find something that you don't know where it is. It's really just to identify different objects if you have that object right there in your hand.
Okay.
You could use one of those Apple locators, in addition to a way tag, if
Yes.
it's something, a really important object. Exactly. But, and then the way tag can help you identify and get all the details. And then the other tag would help you find it if you had misplaced it.
You just introduced a new idea to me, which is a good thought, because then you'd be able to do two things at one time. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there
Thank
you go.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
So Elsa, the other half of my brain reminded me that VLANJ has a Facebook group. So there's a lot of information. VLANJ Tech Talks Facebook group, which some of you are on. So there's a lot of information in that group.
You're echoing. You're echoing.
I have no trouble with that. Maybe I meant to say it twice.
I think my going low.
Do I sound like a monster?
There an echo?
Is that better?
No,
No.
I didn't know if it was going low. That's why.
no.
Oh, I don't know what's wrong. Anyway, can you hear me better now?
No, maybe try muting Linda for a moment and then unmute and see if it goes away.
Yes. Ooh.
Sorry, that was me. I apologize. My battery was going dead.
Thank you.
Any better?
No.
No.
Oh. Linda, do you want me to wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
Okay, sorry, everyone.
Excuse me.
An echo.
Oh, sorry, Linda. This is Elsa, Vice President of Programs. As Linda was starting to mention, sorry, Linda, we want to thank you, Jessica, for coming to present to our group tonight. Please join us on our VLANJ Tech Talks page on Facebook. We post the recording there. And as Linda already mentioned as well, on our YouTube channel. We will also send out a link to this recording to everyone who's registered for this program, along with a link to Way Around website. And also, Jessica, contact information. We can include your contact information, or if there's another person they should contact, just let me know by email and I'll send that out as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you all. It's been a really great group, lots of good questions, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, this was a great group, great discussion tonight.
Yeah.
Remember, everyone, Vicki and Miriam will be knocking on your virtual phone, calling you to do a survey with you to get some feedback, because your feedback is what helps drive us continuing to get grant funding for these great programs that we're doing. We are taking a summer siesta and we will rejoin with you in September. We are very excited to share that we're having Jonathan Mosen all the way from New Zealand come back and present to us on iOS accessibility updates in 17, if you can imagine.
Wow.
So, yes. So I can't believe we're up to iOS 17.
So you only get the update if you have an iPhone. The iPhone 8 won't get it, and the iPhone 10 won't get the update.
You have to have an XR, right, Aaron?
Or an XR or up.
Very good. All right. Just to let you know, the last comment of the evening, Jonathan is not available on Wednesday evenings. We will take Jonathan whenever we can get Jonathan. So he will be with us on Thursday, the 4th Thursday of September. So you will get a link reminding you as we get closer, but just remember that it is a Thursday and it is not a typo.
I will be there.
All right, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Jessica.
Good night. Happy 4th of July.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Happy 4th.
Happy 4th, everyone.
You